We're back. Recently, we did a video about looking at 7 emotions that you can do very simply with zero music theory. We got interesting feedback on that, including our very first ever thumbs down. It was later retracted. And I think people looked at the title of that video and thought sort of a mix between, two different thoughts. One was, wow, look at the access that I have without getting into the jargon and weirdness of music theory and without having to actually have like theory training, that I have this flexibility to do all this amazing stuff with melody and harmony. And then later in the video, I explained that there are names for what you just saw in music theory. That's one of the things that we study. It ended up being the 7 modes of the major scale. Mixed reviews on that. I think a lot of people who'd studied theory very hard, well, a few of them anyway, kind of came back like sort of, how dare you? How dare you? I don't even know. How dare I make this accessible to people that don't necessarily have to go through a lot of training to be able to get some of the same abilities and same advantages that we have if we have studied music theory. Anyway, today, rhythms. And I'm going to do a zero music theory walk on this. I'm going to show you this cool trick that I have that I often use to kind of give me like a kind of a Zeppelin-y kind of a vibe going on. We'll go right into the DAW. Let me show you what I got going on here. This is straight timing right out of the gate. Check it out. Okay, nothing complex. Listen to this. And back. Okay, so what just happened there? Well, essentially you heard the timing go into something that was more complicated. The first part was a pretty straightforward timing. And then the second part had a timing that seemed, it's difficult to put in words without using music theory, but it seemed more interesting to listen to. But really what happened there was it was timed very, very normally, but with a little trick. And I'm gonna share with you the trick. Over the normal part of this, I just chose a basic beat from, we use the plugin MT, letter M, letter T, MT Drummer 2, free plugin, a bunch of built-in beats. We used a straightforward free plugin, choosing from their 4/4 timing. And so this is, in music theory, 4 beats per bar, and it's kind of slow. And this is getting counted like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2. So a pretty straightforward beat. Now, but listen to this, and if you try counting along with this, you'll be able to count this other part. But there's a catch. Listen to the second part again. I love the feel of that part, and this is a trick I do from time to time. Let me share with you exactly what you just heard here. I didn't choose a 4/4 drum pattern for this. I chose a 6/8 drum pattern from built into the free plugin, the MT Power Drummer 2. Let me show you just the straight drums on this, and it's not 4/4. And that's getting counted like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you'll actually hear that snare drum, that big snare drum, come in on the 4. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Listen again, you'll hear this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Now, the other part that's recorded over this, there's a guitar part recorded on this, and there's a bass part. This is not in 6/8 time. This is like the original beat of the song. This is 4/4, 4 beats per bar. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now, what happens when we do that? What if we choose like a drum timing that's out of the same timing that we would plan for a guitar part? This is something where the timing gets almost more complicated than what either part would have been on their own, because you have two timings happening at the same time. And the grand result, especially when we put the bass in, and the bass is in four beats. Remember, the drums are in 6 beats. Okay, so without any music theory at all, you could very simply just choose any 4/4 beat, and then in your other part of your song, choose a 6/8 beat. But while that 6/8 beat's playing, rather than follow that like waltz timing, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, keep playing 4 beat over the top of it. And what happens is they fall out of sync with each other, but they don't stay out of sync with each other. And we can actually know when that's going to come back in sync. All right, here's where you get a little bit of theory, guys. The theory works like this. If I'm playing in 4/4 timing, the question is how many beats long really is a bar? And it's true that it is 4 beats long, but each one of those beats, if I count at the speed of quarter notes, like 1, 2, 3, 4, for sure that's 4 beats. But if I count the in-between counts, what they call the upbeats, I'll actually end up with 8, because I'm really counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And I know my number only got up to 4, but with all those and counts spread in, there was actually 8 things that happened. If I so choose, I could count that as 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, that's the speed that's being counted when the drums are in 6/8 part. They're being counted, there's only 6 beats in a bar, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the problem is the drums will play their 6 beats, finish and start over again. And meanwhile, the 4/4 part, which is really 8 eighth notes, 8 counts, has 2 more beats to play before it restarts. And meanwhile, the drums are now, further in to where they're headed. Well, without getting super math based, the 6/8 part, if I have 4 bars of that, and they're 6 beats each, and I multiply, well, what is 6 beats times 4 bars? The answer is 24 total beats. That's what happens when I play 4 bars, 6 counts per bar. But what about the 4/4 time? And remember, we can count that as really 8 counts per bar if we're counting at that doubled speed. Every time 3 bars go by, that's 24 beats. It's the same. It's 24 beats. And then at that point, everything falls back in sync again. The beauty of doing this is let's say it was a real drummer doing this, they could switch to 6/8 and play for 4 bars. And 24 beats later, they know they're going to line up with the guitar player. And the guitar player could just kind of hang out in 4/4 and know that 3 beats were going to go by before everything lined up again. And you hear like King Crimson do this all the time. Like one guy's playing in 10/8 and the other guy's playing in 11/8. And eventually, if you let it go long enough, they end up back in sync with each other. But let's count this from the viewpoint of the drummer. So 4 bars will go by and then it'll restart and line up with the drums again. So like, let me do this where it actually starts. And let me bring you back on this screen so you can actually see this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, boom. And it all restarted. That was exactly 4 bars long if I was counting at the speed of 6. Let's count based on the guitar part this time. And this is going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and per bar. And a total of 3 bars are going to go by. Check it out. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and boom. And it all lined up again. But everything eventually lines up again. You can't have 2 time signatures that don't ultimately at some point line up again. And the beauty of using something like a 4/4 and a 6/8 is that it'll line up after a few bars, depending on which time signature you think that you're in. But one more time, we're going to listen to the main phrase again, and we're going to listen go into this timing phrase. And if you're more of a drummer, you're going to be kind of counting along with the drums and going, oh yeah, that's it's a time change. But if you're the guitar player, you're not. You're not really going to hear that. But the accents end up happening almost seemingly on random beats in that second part. But let's listen to this again. So here's the main part. Kind of find our groove again. We'll go one more. Okay, quick example of that. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you all in the zone.